Welcome to STARS Launch Pod, where we chat with innovators who are overcoming challenges, pushing boundaries, and collaborating to make space more accessible and sustainable for humanity, one launch at a time.
It's one small step for man.
Here's your host, Susan Wise.
Hi, and welcome to STARS Launch Pod, Space Technology and Research Sciences, brought to you by starsciences.org, where we connect, collaborate, and accelerate. I'm your host, Susan Wise, and thrilled to have with us today, Libby Fenstermacher. Welcome to the program.
Thank you so much for having me, Susan.
I love that your work sits at the intersection of sociology, outer space, and sustainability, with a focus on who feels that science is possible for them and why. Why is it important for you? Why is it possible for you?
I think that the future of humanity as a whole depends on collaboration between all of us. And in order to make that possible, we all need to have a say. And that means that everybody needs to be introduced to science and to STEM and to have it feel like something that they can achieve and be a part of.
Love that. Wise words. So tell us more about you, Libby. I want to know all about you and what you're doing.
Yes. So first off, this past Saturday, I graduated from Sam Houston State University with my master's in sociology.
Yay.
And across my time at Sam, I also interned 3 times at NASA, and I honed my research focus in on the meeting of society and space. So I became interested in how people find their way to space-oriented trajectories in the first place and how they sustain themselves within that. So I focused my thesis specifically on women in astronomy. And what I kept seeing is that inequality in science isn't usually loud. So it's often quiet and cumulative. It lives in networks, credibility, mentorship, the unspoken rules of the field, and the constant tiny decisions about whose work gets taken seriously and who gets treated like they're out of place.
I love that. Women lifting up women, literally, to the stars.
Exactly. At Astra, Prospera. But right now, on top of academic research in my previous NASA internships, which were in astrophysics and with climate resilience and earth sciences, I am still contributing in a few concrete ways to the space ecosystem. I'm involved with the American Astronomical Society Committee on the Status of Women in Astronomy, as well as their social media task force. And I'm also part of the Space Generation Advisory Council, our Giant Leap project, which focuses on getting kids all around the world, especially in Europe, into thinking about trajectories in the space sector that aren't necessarily being an astronaut. You know, we need engineers, we need astronomers, we need everybody on board to make this something that really happens for humanity.
And it's really good to encourage them when they're young and really expose their minds to everything that's happening, because it is happening.
It is happening. And when we're young is when we really, really build those identities, whether I'm a STEM person, whether I'm a creative, you know, that's when that really starts to happen. Mm-hmm. And especially in America, the United States, girls have a little bit of harder time finding their way to a sustainable path on these trajectories. So that's what I'm working on basically right now. And I have a bunch of other projects too.
Okay, let's talk about one of your big aha moments that you've had.
Yeah, so I feel like in my life, I am constantly in search of that aha moment. So I feel like I've had quite a few, but I seek them out. You know, I'm just searching for that new discovery and that new understanding of reality. But one that I recently had was during writing my master's thesis, and it's the concept of hysteresis. And so
explain
hysteresis is something taken from physics.
Okay.
And sociologists use it. And it's basically a fancy way of saying there's a lag. So things change, but the system doesn't change at the same speed. So like we get new technologies, new knowledges. People want to change, but the institutions and norms are much slower to catch up. And they don't always want to move. They kind of want to like hold on to their power. And so once I had that word, I started seeing this everywhere, that in periods of rapid change, the status quo doesn't just fade away, it tightens its grip. So you end up with this weird overlap where new possibilities are real, but old rules are still running the room. And for me in astronomy and the space sciences, I see it's really clear. And because the work is super future facing, but the institutions are still operating on kind of like older rules and they're trying to catch up with the technologies and the knowledge. And so coming across that word has been a huge aha moment for me in the way I am moving forward with my work.
It also people like familiar, they don't really like to embrace change, and you get comfort in keeping things the same. Does that cause some of that lag?
Absolutely, right? You get comfortable, you get a little
Hmm.
bit complacent because you don't want to lose the fruits, right?
Right, right, right.
And so it's that lag, that catching up, and we're seeing
Hmm.
a lot of that in society right now across the world.
Well, what has been one of your biggest challenges during your journey, and how did you overcome it, Libby?
I would say my biggest challenge has been math, and more specifically rebuilding my relationship with that I lost when I was a teenager, when I lost my STEM identity for quite a long period of
I have
time.
a hate
Um,
relationship with math.
yes, I like to say it's a love for the most part,
It
but
makes my brain
um,
hurt.
yeah, I definitely have never taken a calculus class, but
Okay.
I'm up to statistics now, graduate level. But the kid in the 90s, I was obsessed with the sciences, marine science, space, earth science, anything that explained the world. I just like wanted to be involved in. I traveled to Hawaii a bunch when I was a kid, and I was obsessed with Kilauea, and I wanted to, be a volcanologist. And science was my game. But I was also an artist and a musician, and there was always this bit of a mix in me. And I look back now and I see that possibly because I was a girl, I was pushed towards this more creative
Hmm.
part of myself. And through that, I ended up losing my math identity. And so when I was in a sophomore in high school, I just quit math entirely. And I didn't take another class until I was 32 years old.
Oh.
And it like completely stopped me from finishing my bachelor's degree and really narrowed my perception of my own trajectory and what was possible for me. But then when I was 32, I was like, I'm going to do this.
Hmm.
I'm going to make this something fun, something that I can really enjoy because I really wanted to learn math. I love numbers and I love science. Yeah. And so I went back to school at 32, got all A's in math, and now I'm actually tutoring it.
Good for you.
I tutor 7th and 8th graders in math through Go Tutor Corps and the Merit Corps.
I love that that is a big challenge, and you certainly have overcome it. And now it's when you look at it, it's made you more of a well-rounded scientist, because now you have
Absolutely.
the best of all the worlds.
It's definitely really influenced my path now because I see how easy it is for people to get turned away, and people who should be on a STEM trajectory, who really should be on that path. And I just hope that I can help others maintain that identity.
Piece of advice would you like to share with our listeners today?
I think back to what I was just saying, I think that one piece of advice is to treat your identity like something you can rebuild, especially in STEM, because people learn really early on to label themselves. I'm not a math person. I'm not a science person. I'm not technical. And those labels stick way longer than they should.
Let's talk about your passion project.
Yeah, yeah. So, many passion projects, but the one that I'll talk about is the Space for Students series that I created for the American Astronomical Society's Committee on the Status of Women in Astronomy. It was something that I put together during my first NASA internship, and I interview students and early career astronomers about their trajectories and how they got to be within the field, their challenges, what excites them, and their hopes for the future. And it was a really, really amazing experience and project to put together to get to become acquainted with all these amazing, inspirational women. And they all were so dedicated to wanting to inspire the next generation through this series. If you want to check it out, you can find it at the American Astronomical Society YouTube channel, but if you just type in Space for Students on Google,
I found it. I was snooping on your shows. I love the series, and you have some amazing
thank you.
guests. Yes. And you're a very good host.
Thank you so much.
It was
I
great.
appreciate that.
That's a great passion project to have. Libby, thank you so much for sharing that with us. And I would love to check in with you again in a couple months and see what else is going on and what's new in your life. Does that sound okay?
That sounds absolutely fabulous. Maybe I will have got accepted into a PhD program.
I think that would be a great next step.
Yeah. Thank you, Susan.
All right. Thank you. Make sure you join us where we connect, collaborate, and accelerate. And if you enjoyed this episode, just leave us a review and subscribe. Until next time, keep looking up.
Don't miss an episode. Subscribe on your favorite streaming platform. Watch us on YouTube and follow us on social media. Stars Launch Pod, propelling us forward, one launch at a time.